All right, Kaizen, welcome back. We have made it through quite a season. Today we have Tier 3 console, the EU division. We are in the playoffs. It's Impact versus Riot. I am Range, joined tonight by Bob the Legend.
What's going on, guys? We've got, I think, one of the most anticipated matchups of the entire season here, and it's only the second week. You know, both these teams played before already, ended up in a 5-game series, extremely close. I'm excited to see what goes on today.
Yeah, we are already ready to get into the action as well, everyone. So we'll go ahead and let you know that we're starting on Ilios. No surprise there, as it is a set map to start off the series. And we do have our bans in as well, Bob.
Yeah, I believe it was from the side of... Oh, let me just check it here. 1 second, sorry. From the side of Impact, we had Genji and Brig, which, you know, kind of surprises me there a little bit, as I know that Impact does have a strong Genji player in Axar. You know, I assumed that they'd come out here banning the Brig so he could get extra value, but they've gone and banned his Genji as well, which was a real surprise to me.
Yeah, it's interesting. That's quite the ban to come out. And then on the other side, we have the D.Va and the Venture being banned out. So, all right, here we are, starting on Ilios. It's going to be well to get started, and some really different compositions here. We see a reset composition coming through for Impact versus Marlin over on this Winston. So looking more for a dive from Riot.
And Card with a huge kill early here on Lucio, but Mango managed to bring it back a little bit, and it's a very even fight right now, both with 2 picks.
Point going to be opening here shortly. A little bit of presence on the point here for Impact, but is it going to be enough to get the capture, because there's still players coming back?
And it's a huge Marlin with another pick as well there. You know, it seems that Riot has really taken this fight strong here.
Yeah, and I like the patience as well, because when you're playing this dive composition, you really need Bonker to kind of get into a position on this Tracer where you can kind of collapse onto this backline. Card on the Baptiste gonna have a really hard time against this composition. You don't have any mobility in that Baptiste, and we actually are gonna see Resurrect swap over onto the Cassidy, and Cosmo gonna go over to the Wrecking Ball as well.
Yeah, you know, I think that in this matchup, I don't think there's necessarily any team that has one kind of advantage on a role. I think both teams are very evenly matched, especially so far in this game, you know. But while I've been saying that, Impact's just completely sweep this fight here.
Yeah, I think that cast swap from Resurrect making a really big difference. It's going to be able to shut down not only Bonker on this Tracer, but also going to be able to put a whole lot of pressure on Marlin on this Winston as well. Now, we do see that the Pulse Bomb being built up here by Axar. That's going to be the only ultimate kind of coming online. Card will have that window available soon. Both pretty good ultimates, especially where you're in control of this point. But I think that now that Cosmo is over on this Wrecking Ball instead of the Orisa, might be a little bit harder for Card to kind of get the value on this window. Might want to actually just use it kind of selfishly go for damage.
Yeah, already, you know, half of Riot team's already fallen low. Resurrected though. Axar managed to find Mango. But another trade, it's just trade after trade it seems in these fights. Just early on. Each team taking one and losing another. And a huge pulse bomb by Axar there onto Marlin. Finding that pick. Bonker tried to, you know, answer that with a pulse of his own, but didn't quite manage to find that pick needed. And Impact's just taking the fight once again. Just a real back and forth here.
Yeah, it is, and it seems like, you know, if you're in control of the point, that back and forth is always going to favor whoever's kind of already in control. Now, 3 ultimates on the board here for Impact to work with, but we are going to have that Primal Rage, the Kitsune Rush, and Mango is coming up to this overclock as well. Kitsune Rush can be a really excellent ult to kind of push into this point, make a lot of space, but Card with this window actually could basically deny the value of this rush.
Yeah, early Kitsune though from Mage. You know, it's kind of been cut off a little bit by the point, but it seems like they've managed to take advantage of this by Marlin finding his first pick onto Resurrect. However, he has had to, you know, use that Primal Rage to stay alive, which is quite unfortunate early on in the fight. But Cosmo in with the mines on the back line, not quite done a whole lot, but he's found a support.
Cosmar has absolutely locked down the mini room with those mines. Nobody is going to be going in there. Now, 92% here. Impact just need to win one more fight to be able to take well here. Now, we did see the Primal Rage and that Kitsune Rush come out from Riot, but you still have this overclock from Mango, and Dango is going to have this this beat as well. Mr. Jade will have one to answer very shortly too, though.
He had to use it out here early, which is quite unfortunate, but they've answered straight back with their beat of their own. Cosmo managed to find a pick onto BBC Dango and Axar. And Impact just coming back. And again, it's just this back and forth. We've had about, 6-7 fights here where it's just gone straight back and forth, each team winning one and the other team just winning it straight away. But Impact has managed to take this first point here on Ilios.
Yeah, looking pretty good. I like the adjustments that they made. You know, you come out against Riot that's running this kind of dive composition. You come out on the Orisa. It's going to be very easy for Riot to kind of navigate around this Orisa, basically ignore the front line altogether. So some adjustments made. Resurrect goes over to Cassidy, Cosmar over on to that Wrecking Ball. And now you have a dive of your own to kind of work with. Resurrect is able to like protect Card on this Baptiste a little bit more, who is, not a lot of mobility. You're kind of going to be the dive target there. So, and nice to see the changes, and it seemed to work out really, really well here for Impact. Now, going over onto Lighthouse, definitely still a dive favored map here, so let's see if anything changes. We are going to have the Sim TPs coming out from both sides. We do have Mango on the side of Riot that has swapped over onto the Cassidy. Otherwise, looking like both these teams want to run essentially the same compositions here, so we've ended up on nearly a mirror comp, just a difference in kind of that tank lineup, and then we have the Baptiste card sticking on this against Mage on the Kiriko.
Yeah, well, obviously with the difference here in the comps being that Baptiste and the Kiri, it's really going to be kind of a high ground battle here, Impact has kind of got that advantage a little bit with a bit more damage coming from the Bap, but Riot has a little bit more pressure on that dive with the Kiri being able to TP in there, especially with the new perk being able to double TP. She can get in and out in about 2 seconds and have no problem there staying alive. So it's just really going to be a battle whether Marlon and Bonker can take them off this high ground, and I think that's going to be the decider on whether they win this.
Yep, I totally agree. As we can see that Impact, well, they've already got themselves set up back on that high ground. Again, Mr. Jade getting very aggressive here, trying to hold actually Riot's high ground, as Bonker's going to put a little bit of pressure on point, but doesn't really seem like Impact is too bothered by it.
Card has just come in and he's taken out Bonker instantly. Didn't even have a chance to do anything there. And again with the second pick onto Marlon. This fight's really going Riot's way.
Right? And so,
Riot, Impact.
Yeah, Impact, they didn't overcommit to that. We see the pressure kind of coming through from Bonker there. You just have Card and Resurrect kind of rotate back, deal with the Tracer, and then again, it's just getting set up. Impact is doing a really great job kind of getting themselves repositioned after each fight so that they're kind of in prime condition to take another dive in from Riot. And so far, Riot haven't really been able to kind of break through this staging from Impact.
Yeah, it just always seems that, that strong high ground pressure from Card and Resurrected, they always just seem to find that pick early on in the fight, and Riot just can't really do anything about it seems so far.
To dive in. Marlon, see, already very, very low. Pulse Bomb connects to BBC Tango down.
Bonker does have his pulse on his own, and he just used it. However, again, he hasn't quite been able to answer that pulse bomb kill.
Now we're up above 80% here. Bonker doing what he can on this Tracer, has been able to find 2 picks, but we're approaching 90%. Riot, they need to find a way to get towards this point, but you have to walk through a window, you gotta walk through a Deadeye, and you've lost Bonker. That was probably gonna be your best chance at a touch.
Yeah, well, this is a completely different game from the last point, as last time it just kept going straight back and forth. However, Impact has just had a dominant win over on this map, it seems. Riot's not really had any kind of chance to win any of these fights. They're just losing it right from the beginning.
Yeah, it seems like once Impact got themselves set up, it was over for Riot, as that is going to be a fairly quick 2-0 there for the side of Impact. And like Bob said, a little bit of a fight kind of put up on that first point, but I think that once Impact kind of found this composition that was really working for them, they absolutely locked in and just shut Riot out of getting any percentage at all on Lighthouse.
Yeah, and that just really surprised me there as well. I assumed it was just going to be that back and forth the entire time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But Impact coming out strong, taking that first map.
Yeah, setting themselves up in a really good position here. I'll remind everybody this is a best of 5. So it's going to be the first team to 3 wins that's going to be able to take this series. We are in the winners bracket right now, so the loser doesn't go home. They get another chance to kind of run through that lower bracket. But I mean, here in the semifinals, you definitely want to find a win here. It's going to take a lot of pressure off the team that goes into that lower bracket. Right. Oh, yeah. So we are going to throw it to a quick break while we get the bans in and we get the map pick in, but don't go anywhere. We will be back with map 2 after this. Okay, Kaizen, welcome back. Thank you so much for sticking around after that short little break. We are back with map 2 of Impact versus Riot. If you missed the first map, well, you missed a 2-0 victory for Impact on Ilios. So Riot have opted to take us over to King's Row for the second one.
Yeah, and I can see, Riot, they tend to have, I think, from playing them previously, they tend to have a bit of a stronger brawl than they do a dive, so I can see why they wanted to pick this King's Row map over some of the other options that they have in this playoff map pool.
Yeah, that's a good point. Of course, we are expecting to see some brawl on King's Row. Very classic. But there are a few heroes that we will not be seeing, as we do have our hero bans in here. So first ban coming out on the side of Riot was Ball, so no Wrecking Ball. And then we had the answer back from Impact with a Kiriko and a Juno ban. So 2 supports being banned out there from Impact, and then Riot ending it all off with a Cassidy ban. So, I mean, some of these heroes we might expect to see here on King's Row. So these bans really could have an impact.
Yeah, I mean, bit of an Impact reference there. But honestly, I think, even though they banned the ball, I feel like this kind of allows Cosmo to, if he needs to, play as what I believe to be, I might be wrong, his more comfort pick Ram, but it doesn't seem like he's playing it right now as he's coming out on the D.Va. And it's...
Safety first.
All right, well, chat, we're going to check the hero bans here. Make sure we have Cassidy banned, Juno banned. Oh, we are missing a Kiriko ban. Ha ha ha. And we are missing a Wrecking Ball ban. Oh, and Wu Yang. That's right, y'all. You can't play Wu Yang here. We are going
you have to
restart this lobby. NA prod. Sorry, chat. It's been a hot minute since I had to do hero bans. All right, here we are. Back in to King's Row. All right, bans are on the table, just like I said. But yes, we are going to be heading into King's Row. It is going to be Impact that's starting out on the defense here. So whatever comp they end up locking in, we can at least trust that that's what we'll see for them, at least for this first match.
Yeah, completely agree. We did see last time that Riot came out on that Orisa comp. I was semi-expecting them, because I know Marlon's a big Mauga player, I believe. I was kind of expecting to see that come out, and I was quite excited for that, but it appears that I could be wrong from what we saw last round, or the last time before we had to pause.
All right, we're ready for battle. We do have Impact walking out of the spawn here, so they are opting to come out with this Brig Baptiste backline. So not something that we haven't really gotten to see a whole lot of, but a pretty strong backline, able to really withstand a dive fairly well. I'm gonna have Cosmore on that D.Va, and then it's the Ashe and the Tracer making an appearance here. I do think that we tend to see, Tracer feels kind of like a must pick right now. She's still very strong. And then Ashe, I feel like we do see a little bit more of Ashe, specifically on King's Row. You have this high ground kind of around the point that you can control with that coach gun, and the dynamites can be really impactful here too.
Yeah, and I mean, Resurrected's one of the strongest hitscan players in tier 3 console right now, I'd say. Whenever I've seen them play, they've always dominated these games on Widowmaker, Sojourn, Cass. As we've seen the Cass ban, Resurrected just clearly had that much of an impact playing that.
Ooh, okay, Mango Bear on this Widowmaker is gonna end up falling first here, so numbers advantage for Impact for now, but I mean, Riot are going to be able to get back into this fight fairly quickly. We are going to see Mango Bear swap over onto the Sojourn, as it's the high ground behind the point that Riot are trying to gain control of.
Yeah, they just seem to be having a bit of a problem here taking it. However, they've come out with the speed boost early, go and try to push this, this Ashe and Baptiste off the high ground.
Rotating around, is going to be able to find that first pick, so Resurrect, the hit scan extraordinaire, has been taken out of the fight, and it looks like Riot are going to be able to crack this point open.
Yeah, it was just a strong fight there, It started off a little bit slow. They had to kind of back off a little bit, but he came back in strong and won this fight in the end. Bonker with another pick there onto the Brig. You know, Riot did ban the Venture last map, and I believe obviously it was to ban that Venture for this map.
Still no percentage on the point here for Riot, despite having the numbers advantage. Somebody needs to start standing on this point. There we go. BBC Dango is going to take down Resurrect, and now finally it feels like Riot are kind of getting a foothold on this point, but from this positioning of Impact, it looks like Cosmore potentially wants to go in for a recontest before this flip comes through.
Yeah, well, it did seem like Riot won the fight about a minute ago, but it took them about 30 seconds to try to get back onto this point, so it's given Impact a chance to recontest, and they've gone with the 2 trades here. However, Impact has lost both their supports here, which is going to be a bit of a problem coming into this fight now.
Cosmore very, very, very close to being demagged. Has the defense matrix to try and sustain a little bit longer, but the terrorists are committed here from Marlin. Isn't going to find anything, but it is. Wow, going to zone everybody away.
Cos actually just got saved there by Riot's Lucio, if anyone noticed that. Got beat out of the Orisa ult, just barely saving his life, but did fall in the end.
Oh, okay. I mean, one tick to go here. Impact holding on. Resurrect throwing that Bob onto the point, basically being the tank that Impact needed when Cosmore wasn't there. Now, this is pretty big for Riot. I mean, you managed to hold on to 3 ults. You're going to have the beat ready to go very shortly. You only need 1 tick here. You just have to put enough pressure on the point to be able to get that percentage. But 2 support ultimates on the side of Impact that are going to be able to deny that.
Speaking of the window coming out here, but Cosmo has lost his mech early in this fight, but Resurrect managed to find a pick to trade out for that mech. Bonker forced to use that, I don't even know what it's called, just the Venture ult.
Let's get back to basics.
You know, this fight just seems like it's gone in Impact's way again. Even though I thought that, you know, early on, Riot won the fight, but they just didn't quite get onto the point early enough to cap it all the way.
Pressure's on the point now.
Window coming out early from Mage here. Answered with the rally.
Okay, there we go. That's the little tick that Riot needed. All they had to do was set Marlin on this Orisa up on that point, and that's what you need. Now they are going to be able to get this payload moving. It was costly. Use both those support ultimates. Marlin is building up to the Terra Surge. We actually have Mr. Jade kind of lurking here. Is going to get staggered out on the Brigida. That's a really, really nice kill here for Riot. This is going to allow them to push this payload forward through the choke point, where Impact really would have loved to have kind of a position to hold this back, because that's how you're really going to burn time off this second point here. But it's a lot of space being taken by Riot. Impact's just going to have to wait for the break to get back to fully engage in this next fight.
Yeah, they can't really take the fight this early yet, but they do have the ult advantage on them. You know, we're coming in with Bulba and Pulse Bomb, whereas Riot's only really got that Terra Surge here for this fight. And the Bob comes out early here from Impact. Bonker, though, managed to find Axar, not quite being able to use that Pulse Bomb yet, which could cost him the fight in the end, but Resurrected finding another pick.
Okay, we have, trades coming through here. Impact trying to hold this high ground. Marlin, though, has his Terra Surge ready to go, trying to gain control of this high ground, sees the split, and goes for it.
Not quite being able to find anything there from that, though. Falling to low HP, but gets the, the gold off just in time.
All right, Impact regrouping here. Card is not currently in the fight, so you only have Mr. Jade on this Brigida to try and keep everyone alive. Cosmore, unfortunately not in mech either, is going to be able to get it, but is the touch going to come through?
Yeah, a fight that just, you think is going to go one way, however, it just gets flipped around once again. You can never tell what's going to happen with these fights, you know. They always manage to find a way to flip it. Whoever gets the first pick it hasn't seemed like they've managed to win most of these fights, even though they've got that advantage right at the start.
Yeah, it was a nice job there from Impact to kind of pull back a little bit, wait for not only for Card to get back in the fight on this Baptiste, but also for Cosmo to get that mech back in. Now it's going to be the bomb that's available. We have a bomb from Resurrect as well, but we're starting off with a tectonic shot from Riot to try and find a pick.
Cos has been forced to use the bomb, but he's managed to find Marlon with it, unfortunately, for Riot. But Bonker managed to get that pick onto Resurrected just in time, and Axar. You know, Impact does have this numbers advantage now. Again, with another pick from Cards. Doesn't seem like they can really lose this fight now. And they've not quite been able to touch the point in the last second.
All right, Impact looking really good. Like kind of moving that momentum forward from Ilios and really finding their stride here on King's Row as well. You know, a lot of patience from this team. I really like the way that they're playing. They know when to kind of back out, regroup, and then re-engaging kind of with their own cooldowns, with their ultimates. Not something that we always get to see a whole lot from tier 3 teams. You know, there's a lot of kind of push to just go, press W. So finding a team that, you know, is recognizing when you have to kind of put the brakes on, definitely shows the strengths of this Impact team.
Yeah, and I mean, there was a couple times, maybe 6-7 times, where, you know, you thought that Riot were going to win the fight, but they could just never quite break through that. You know, they had that strong win early on, but they didn't quite manage to cap the point, which, you know, really was maybe a bit detrimental there, because they couldn't quite get that momentum going into second point.
Yeah, I have to say, I mean, Riot definitely not looking too shabby either, although we're maybe not seeing quite as much kind of ebb and flow from this team. I'm liking what they're doing kind of with these ultimates. They're waiting until they have a few to work with and then kind of doing a couple of a combo at a time, and that's really what allowed them to get that last pick and secure the payload push on the first point. But now on the defense, they are going to be on this Bap Brig. Marlon still on the Orisa, Mango, Sojourn, Bunker over on that bench here. So a whole lot of point presence for this team, but you're up against Cosmore still on this Diva. Resurrect is starting out on the Widowmaker, and oh, Axar speared into a wall and killed.
That's a really nice early pick, and I can't imagine Impact's going to really try to take this fight. They're just going to back out, but Resurrected managed to find a pick to answer that, and Cole's finding a pick onto Marlon as well, which just means Impact's really just going to take this fight. But is it going to be a carbon copy of what happened to Riot, where they're just going to lose in the last couple seconds and not quite be able to cap fully on this first point?
We gotta wonder. Bunker is kind of lurking in the background here, trying to put some pressure onto Resurrect, but I don't think that anyone's gonna be able to get the touch. No, unfortunately. Marlon not quite able to get one of those hooves on the point, and that is gonna be the payload starting to move here for Impact. Now, good for Riot is that they have this choke to contest with. They have the Orisa set up, and you do still have Bunker on a pretty wild flank right now, so there's an opportunity for a very good pinch attack here, but I mean, Impact are aware of where Bunker is.
Yeah, it just seems Card and Resurrect have just kind of got a bit of a man mark onto Bunker, not being able to quite escape just yet until he maybe gets that dig. But he's chosen to go in with it onto Resurrect, see if he can find that pick. Not quite been able to get it though. Just trade after trade once again though. It just seems like that's the way these fights go between these two teams.
We see there kind of like the dives coming through from each side, even though Orisa isn't the traditional dive tank. As soon as Cosmar kind of goes in for that engagement, Marlon walking onto that backline, and the backline of the Zen Bap, although it's a pretty strong backline, a very greedy backline, they can do a lot of damage, doesn't have a whole lot of peel for each other. So that Orisa able to take down Card on the Zenyatta, and now we have the sights here. Marlon does have the Terra Surge ready to go, but everybody actually took the high ground here for the side of Impact.
Yeah, they're just trying to, you know, they've got that strong pressure from the back. But Transcendence has had to be forced out here by Card, saving Coz's life. You know, and it just seems that it's just won them the fight. They've only had to use 2 ults here. And again, they've still got this ult advantage coming in. Or, well, it's very even actually, now that I see it.
Marlon did stall out progress on the point ever so slightly. Bonker lurking, just doing venture things, hiding around. Resurrect is on this high ground though, so we'll see if they're going to meet up with each other. It will be Bunker actually finding the better of Resurrect there. So nice job to kind of take that Widowmaker out of the fight. That's a lot of pressure that's now gone. Going to allow BDC Dango and Mage to walk a little bit more freely. Mango actually has swapped over onto the Widowmaker as well, so looking to put a bit more pressure onto Resurrect as well.
Yeah, it just seems like Bunker tends to always kind of be stuck in this backline a little bit after each fight. You know, he's not quite died, and he's just kind of stuck there trying to find a pick on the Widow. But Resurrect managed to do it and take out the Widow on Riot's side here early. Cos has been used, forced to use one, but he's found two with it again. You know, two, even though he's just been using it to save his life, he's managed to get two big bombs out of it, you know, killing one or two people each time, which is just crazy to think that in 2025 you're still finding kills with diva bombs.
Yeah, we definitely don't see that a whole lot, you know, on the side of Riot. We have the lamp. Bonker is gonna have kind of the dig. Marlon in theory is like, you know, if you get caught out, you get caught out. You don't have the cooldowns now. Though Impact is rapidly approaching this golden box, and they've got all the ultimates to work with.
Yeah, coming out early with the window, trying to put that pressure on the choke, not letting anyone else really be able to push up here and fight with that Brig and Orisa rolling in the front line. Cos unfortunately been demeched here, but Widow's trading out here as well. And that does seem like Riot's finally going to be able to take the fight from Impact.
Yeah, a smart play there from BBC Django. Pops that rally. Everybody pushes under the window so that even though, you know, the high ground advantage is there for Mr. Jade and this Baptiste window, everybody's just playing under it, LOSing it. And now a lot of space trying to be taken here by Riot. Marlon will fall fairly low, so gonna have to back up a little bit. But there's some ultimates here for Riot to work with. And, you know, a minute and a half here, you gotta make sure that you don't blow all these ults in this fight because there's still gonna be another one after.
Yeah, well, Impact doesn't have really any ult to use here. They're probably just going to try take a fight without, you know, try not to commit anything. So, but they've had to use the Transcendence because of this Terror Surge. Axar putting pressure onto this backline though. At Cos as well. Haven't quite been able to find anything yet. Axar falling low, but he just about managed to stay alive in there. And that just does seem like Impact. But Riot managed to find two. Cos with the Diva Bomb again. And he's managed to find another pick with the Diva Bomb.
Oh.
Just placing it on top of that cart. Finding Bonker in the end and just capping the point.
It was so close there. It was just the supports from Riot that were still alive. But yeah, like you said, Bob, I mean, the bomb comes through. Cosmore just clears the point. Play of the game over on Axar on the Tracer here for Impact. You can see just why Tracer is kind of a must pick in the meta right now, able to just survive on these flanks and dish out a whole lot of damage while doing so.
Yeah, again, just Impact winning, but I don't necessarily think either of these games have gone kind of 100% into one team's direction. It's been close quite a lot of times, bar that second sub-map on Ilios, which just went all the way in Impact's favor.
All right, well, don't go anywhere, chat. We are going to throw it to a quick break, but we could be back with the final map of this series, Impact, now up 2-0 over Riot. Reminder that the loser will go down to the lower bracket. So stick around. We'll see how this wraps up next. Okay, welcome back to what could potentially be the last map of the series. If you're just tuning in, you are joining us here in the Tier 3 console division. It's the semifinals, and currently it is Impact up 2-0 over Riot, looking to close everything out here on Circuit Royale.
Yeah, well, Impact coming up 2-0 here, and I feel like to some people that may seem like a bit of an upset for Riot, as I believe they were the favoured to win this game overall, and they're already 2-0 down, which is surprising to me as well. Wasn't quite expecting this, but good for Impact, I guess. You know, coming in, taking that win, hopefully for them.
Yeah, exactly. And now Circuit Royale was, of course, Riot's map pick. Riot also had the opportunity to ban out the first hero, and they took Ramatra off the table. Then Impact answering with a Lucio and Tracer ban. And finishing up, it is going to be Freya banned out here for a Circuit. So some interesting bans here. Now, once upon a time, Circuit Royale used to be kind of the poke child of Overwatch. We used to see a whole lot of Sigma, but unfortunately, Bob, those days seem to be long gone now.
Yeah, it all just seems to kind of turn again into that brawl. It kind of, sometimes it starts off in that poke and then just collapses once you realize that you need to fight this in a brawl, which, you know, takes away kind of from what people liked about Circuit with that long sightlines. But we have also had a change here from Impact with our glorious Finny New coming in here.
So smart. Oh my gosh. Okay. Wow. Oh my, beautiful here from Riot. We saw kind of the Lifeweaver pedal come up. Impact wanted to do the funny little Malga stomp onto the high ground. Riot immediately responds by just rotating, flipping the map on them, taking down Gloppin on this auto. Yep, gonna be sent back to spawn, and really smart stuff there from Riot to try and respond to this quirky play coming out from Impact.
But Impact now kind of have this control over the high ground in the back, which, you know, is a good and a bad thing, because they're kind of split off from the rest of the team that could just get picked off straight away out of spawn. But Cos going in there early on this Malga, trying to find a pick, but not quite being able to find anything, because Marlon playing this Orisa, which just kind of hard counters that Malga a little bit.
Ooh, yeah, and now, I mean, Impact is quite split here. Kaneki is gonna get sent back to the spawn. Resurrect going to be quick to follow there, and it's just really nice staggers coming out here from Riot, as we are going to see Cosmore swap over onto this Orisa, so no more Malga business. It is going to be the horses facing off here on Circuit, and well, Riot have just got themselves repositioned into kind of these default positions. Bonkerel on this May going to be really looking to find kind of a wall and split Cosmore off from his team.
Yeah, well, both teams, you know, they're just, it seems that they are just kind of playing maybe a little bit to burn each other's tanks, as from Impact side they've got the Zenyatta, but they don't quite have that heal that they need in case somebody tries to dive. But it doesn't really seem like Riot's got any kind of backline pressure, someone that can get in there and kind of assassinate them. But Riot's got this Mei, which they're hoping, obviously, as you said, to wall off Cosmo and just burn him down instantly, which it seems like that might have been what they did there. You know, just really cleaning up this fight early. This does seem that it's kind of been the game's kind of been flipped a little bit here, with Impact kind of taking the charge originally in those first two maps, but Riot really just changing the tide here and dominating so far.
Yeah, and now Impact need to find kind of a response for this. It's really smart plays here from Riot. You can see them giving up a little bit of space here. You have this Blizzard ready to go. They might be trying to just kind of bait Impact into a position where Bonker can use that Blizzard, but no! The headshot.
And he's been Blizz-jaxed.
Oh!
Blizz-jaxed early on. But Resurrect has been traded out here. See what they can do. You know, Impact does have this all advantage, and the Terror Surge coming out, hopefully trying to find one pick, but the Immort has been forced out, and they're just cleaning up this fight now, it seems, with Cos pushing in. Finny finding two.
Oh, yeah, okay. This is looking like it's probably going to be first point captured here for Impact. They're rolling this through 4 ultimates, and yeah, they really only had to use that one ultimate, the Terror Surge coming in from Cosmore. Otherwise, it's just the opening pick there from Resurrect that really just allowed them to walk forward. But good news is Riot, everybody got this close spawn, so they're going to be able to take a nice aggressive fight early on in this second push.
Yeah, but, you know, that's an early pick there from Resurrect, and they also have the ultimate advantage here, so I can't really see a way that Riot managed to break through, as that Transcendence came out early, but answered by the rally from the Brig. Let's see what they can do here. They're taking this nice high ground advantage, and just Riot's been forced to back up a little bit, not quite being able to take this fight as aggressive as they wanted to originally.
Ooh, Marlon is going to get discorded there, has to back out, but now the Discord Orb not going to be able to be put on him for a little bit. You have that Terror Surge ready to go, just looking for an opportunity to try and use it.
And Cos just pushing in there, trying to find his picks, and Finney managed to find 2 there with his overclock, and a 3rd. But Marlon's answering with that Terror Surge, Cos answering straight back.
Ooh, stream can't see. Can stream hear? Yeah. We're radio broadcasters right now.
Yeah.
So I mean, Point is pushing forward and Impact trying to get a recontest here. They actually aren't quite able to slide it in just yet. The payload's so close.
Just had to use your imagination for that last fight there. Coming straight back in, and Cos has been picked off, which is just huge from the side of Riot. You know, not having a tank just really kind of leaves you the fight automatically. With neither team's really having any other than this Blizzard coming into this next fight, though.
All right, Blizzard to work with. We didn't get to see the Blizzard make it onto the field the last time it was available, so we'll see what Bonker can get done this time. Now on the side of Impact, you're coming in with the sights ready from Resurrect. Kaneki is going to be able to build up to that Transcendence fairly quickly. Will not have it in time for this Blizzard, but might be able to get it in time for this Terror Surge that's coming up from Marlon. And now that Maywall is out, Impact has to be very aware that this Blizzard is probably coming, as we see just space being given here. Riot are looking to bait these teams into those Blizzards.
And Blizzard has come out, but it's not managed to find anyone, but it has forced out that Transcendence, which is huge for the side of Riot there as well. You know, both teams kind of using fight-saving ults, but, you know, it does seem like Riot winning this fight in the end. You know, Impact's only really got one more fight to maybe turn this, but that's if they can contest in the first places. A whole team kill, but Cos, Resurrect, and Kaneki coming back from spawn. Will they be able to touch in time? Marlon taking the aggressive Terror Surge comes out with the rally, and it just doesn't seem like anyone's going to be able to touch, as it's just Stun City out here.
It really is Stun City, and the Maywall from Bonker also going to deny the kind of this walk up the stairs there, and that's going to be it. I mean, Riot coming alive here. You don't hold first point, but do a great job with second. You managed to stop the cap coming through just at the last second. Only a couple of meters were needed for that payload to kind of slide in and that checkpoint secured. So really good stuff there for Riot to kind of hold strong. And this sets a very clear win condition for them. They don't have to push all the way to the end of the map. You need to get through first point and through most of second point. So it definitely can be done. I am interested to see if Impact are going to stick on this Orisa composition, if they're going to try anything kind of out of the box here.
Yeah, well, as you say, Riot has just kind of come alive. Haven't really shown a, like, you know, they've been fighting back with Impact, but they haven't really been winning any of these fights. But today, now in this map, it does seem that Riot is finally taking control. They're playing how people expected them to play, you know. Maybe it's just this one map, but we'll have to see if they can manage to win it here.
Okay. Yeah. Impact showing us that classic Sigma, the Ana Zen, the double flex backline as well. Now, this is a whole lot of poke damage here for Impact. So name of the game is to do as much damage, force as many cooldowns out onto Riot as you possibly can before they walk in. But Riot have an ace up their sleeve. Bunker has come out on this Symmetra. You're going to be able to use these TPs to negate pretty much all of the poke damage that is available for Impact.
And they're taking this TP early, pushing this high ground. But that's a nice dynamite coming out from Resurrect, really forcing them to back up a little bit, not being able to take this fight as early as they want to. Now, they've left Mango here up on the high ground behind, but they've managed to find two early on the Sig and the Zen, and it just seems Riot, once again, just cleaning up early. Will Impact be able to kind of come back and stop them from winning this game in just straight fights and a dominant performance?
Yeah, this is just a really good read from Riot, honestly. The Symmetra was exactly what they needed to kind of negate this. Now, beautiful sleep there. Gloppen is going to be able to help their team take out Marlon. So a little bit of progress is being made on the car here, but Riot are going to have to give a whole lot of space now that Impact have kind of regrouped here, and Payload going to get stalled just under the bridge there. But it is going to be Impact trying to take control of this high ground once again. Nice patience. Riot are going to be able to get Marlon back in this, and here we go. It's another fight for this high ground.
Yeah, well, Riot are lucky that Marlon was kind of pushed up so far that they weren't really able to punish anyone else for Marlon's mistake of going up so far and getting slept and just burned instantly. But Bonker with the TP here onto the right side, trying to get some pressure. And that's a big trades here from both teams. Bonker going down and Gloppen. But Marlon using that Terror Surge, finding one, finding two, and a third, but falling himself. But it doesn't really seem that Impact's are really going to be able to do anything with that pick. And they're just going to cap this point unless Finny decides he wants to take that 1v3 on point. Oh. And he does, but gets booped off. Felt confident there.
Yeah, nice whip shot there from BBC Dango to keep Finny away from recontesting that payload. Now, similar to how it was for Riot on the defense, everybody from Impact did get this close spawn, so they're going to be able to take kind of an early fight here. That definitely did make a whole difference for Riot, but we have ultimates for Impact all ready to go. Nearly 5 of them online here. Now, Riot are close behind with this rally, with this overclock, but honestly, if you're Riot right now, you want to just kind of take this drive by, try to get some of the ultimates out of here, because 5 ults is a whole lot for Impact to work.
Yeah, and that's 3 coming out straight away, really early here to win the fight. But they've cleaned up really nicely, but they have been forced to use 3 for the price of 0 for the side of Riot. No, Riot still has 3.5 minutes to play with here. Can build up these ults and just burn them all in one fight, and hopefully that should be enough to get them this point. But we'll have to see if Impact can just play the better game here.
Yeah, this is something that I mentioned about Riot earlier.
And Mage falling.
Oh my gosh.
That's unfortunate there. Nice pick with the nade. Finding that support, and it's just a clean up from here. They didn't really have a chance, but they've still got, this massive time bank. They don't really have to stress right now about if they're going to be able to win this or not.
This is the beauty of having this Ana, is that into the Symmetra, it's usually pretty telegraphed where everybody from the side of Riot's going to show up, and Gloppen can just throw it down. A nade there. Nice little TP under the point. Now, Cosmore is very aware of where everyone is, but has actually pushed up very, very far. You're going to have to be careful. Good job kind of just backing out there. And now, position has been gained here for Riot. They still have these ults to work with. Going to start with the wall.
Bob being coming out here, answered by the OC, but Cos managed to find Bonker in the kind of, mess of this fight. And it does seem like Riot's kind of trying to back up play point a little bit more, trying to get a little bit more progress to cap in this, But Impact has already managed to burn half that clock that they had when they came into this second point.
Yeah, that's true. A lot of time here.
Cos falling low. Marlon with the ult, but it's answered again with pick after pick after pick. And it does seem like Riot is going to be able to take this point unless someone can get a miraculous touch last second.
Oh, yeah, team kill coming through. That is going to be Riot turning things around here, slowing down that momentum that Impact thought that they had building. Picking up Circuit, picking up their first map pick win, and trying to start a potential reverse sweep.
Yeah, well, you know, people, as I said at the start, people were expecting Riot to come out strong here early, but it seems that they've taken a couple seconds to warm up to this game. But they have shown up. They are really just showing a dominant performance here on this. They had a little bit of a struggle coming into that second point, but they were able to take it in the end.
Good stuff coming out from Riot. That means that we are not done yet, chat. We are going to be going to a fourth map. It will be the first map that Impact has the opportunity to choose. So don't go anywhere. We will be back with that one just after a quick break. Okay, welcome back once again. We have made it to a fourth map in this series after Riot were able to pick up their map pick of Circuit Royale. And now we're over on the first map pick here for Impact, and they have opted to take us to the push map of Runasapi.
Yeah, and we've also got some changes in here. We've taken Finny out for Axar and swapped Card out for Mr. Jade on the side of Impact, and we've also got one change for Riot, which was Speedy in for Mango Bear. We'll see if these can make any difference to what happens in this map. You know, potential Riot reverse sweep here coming.
Right? Yeah, looking to get it. Now, this is going to be tough here for Riot because, of course, now you have to win on Impact's map pick here. So, could be tricky, but definitely not impossible. Now, as we get ready to have these doors open, we'll just remind everybody about the bans as well. So, of course, with Impact picking Runasapi, they have the first ban, Mauga, off the table, courtesy of Impact. Cassidy and Baptiste going to be taken away by Riot, and then Venture removed, the last hero of the bans on the side of Impact. So we were talking a little bit off camera that we thought we might end up on kind of a ball mirror here. Now, we do have a Wrecking Ball in play here for Impact. Resurrect on this Sombra as well, so maybe they were expecting a Wrecking Ball as well, but no, it is going to be Riot coming out on this Orisa still. It's the Brig Juno backline. Used to be quite classic, going up against this Lucio Kiriko backline, a little bit more modern take on it.
Because engaging here early, but Axar falling, they're forced to use that recall here early, which is quite unfortunate. But, you know, Riot is just setting up on this right side really strong with this kind of, you know, brawly dive composition that they've got going on.
Bot is being stolen here.
Yeah,
Impact's going to gain a little progress at least.
But Cos coming in early here, trying to find a pick onto, seems Mage or the Brig, but no luck so far. But there's been a trade here, and again, it just trade after trade after trade. It just seems like that's the way all these fights seem to go. No team really seeming to take the lead here, but it is just kind of Marlon. And again, they've just kind of turned this fight. They were up one Impact, but they've managed to kind of end up being in a 1v2 here. But both Tracers coming back to the fight now. Let's see if they can make any difference for either team here.
Back in it, and Marlon pushing Cosmore off to the side here. Now, Impact are in the lead here, but Terracer is going to be committed here. Just a little bit more progress, and Riot's going to be able to actually take the lead. And we do have Axar kind of sticking around this bot on the Tracer, but with that recall forced out, doesn't look like a whole lot of work's going to be able to be done, and that is going to be Riot picking up the lead here, marching towards that first checkpoint. Now, like I said, that Terror Surge was committed. You still have the Pulse Bomb, and you have the Rally ready to go on the side of Riot. But Impact are coming back into this. They're able to build up to quite a few ultimates here. You're going to have the Mines ready to go. You're going to have this Pulse Bomb, the EMP as well. We really need to be looking out for that. Now, there's no beat on the side of Riot to try and counter this, but you do have the Rally online for BBC Dango, as long as you can kind of stay out of that EMP.
Yeah, Mage finding a pick early onto Axar, and Riot just kind of cleaning up. But Cos has committed Mines here, seeing if he can kind of flip this fight around a little bit, but not quite found anything but his own death on the point here. You know, Impact, once again, they're just kind of getting rolled over a little bit. Riot have woken up since that second map. Pulse Bomb eaten by Cos, though. Nice eat there onto Bonkers Pulse. But the EMP coming out, only really finding two though. But they have managed to capitalize onto that backline a little bit, and Impact finally taking this fight win.
Oh yeah, EMP there, just gonna clean everything up on the side of Riot. The team kill comes through for Impact, and now they're gonna start marching this bot back towards their side. Now, luckily for Riot, everybody got those close spawns, so you're gonna have 5 members alive, ready to go. You have both those support ultimates to re-engage her, and Speedy's gonna have the blade as well. Mr. J gonna have the beat to respond. It's gonna be the Surge here, opening
But
things up.
Mage finding Resurrect early here. Pulse Bomb comes out from Axar, doesn't quite find anyone though. Fight's kind of gone to a little bit of a stalemate here, but Marlon finding that second pick, and Speedy just cleaning up on these last few people as Cos just trying to get out, but unfortunately falls. Now, Riot does seem to just kind of be the stronger team right now. They haven't really had a whole lot of fight back, other than that one little fight. It's just Riot's not really backing down at all. Getting that first pick every fight, just it seems like they've got a bit better ult economy as well. Only really using one, maybe two ults per fight, and just getting that first pick really early and winning straight away. Blade coming out here early though, forcing that beat, but Mr. J doesn't, only beats himself, doesn't quite find anybody else with that. Causing Resurrect to fall. Cos getting low here, but the Briggs come out. Marlon once again finding a pick, and it just seems like Riot are going to win this fight once again. But, and the Terror Surge being forced out here as well. Doesn't seem like Riot can really lose this fight anymore.
Oh yeah, Gloppin falls. Mr. Jade is going to be able to put a little bit of pressure on the point here. Speedy, okay, gets a little greedy, wants to try and kill Jade, and the Resurrect is going to stop that from happening. Now, the spawn advantage definitely does favor Impact here. Marlon, we can see just getting a little bit of more of progress on this bot, but the numbers are just not here for Riot to try and sustain him through, as it is going to be the Orisa falling on the point there, and we did have that early checkpoint picked up, so luckily for Marlon, he's going to be able to get that forward spawn once again. And now, last time we had kind of this fight happening in this middle ground, we had ultimates kind of ready to go for the side of Riot, which really helped them retake this, but now you have nothing to work with here. You got a Pulse Bomb on the side of Impact, but that's the only ultimate on the board here, as that first forward spawn is going to be gone now for Riot. This is an opportunity for Impact to come back into this.
Mage falling early there, that's their main source of heals gone. Will they be able to kind of do anything without having any ults in the bank? Bonker finding Axar though, still with that Pulse Bomb in his pocket. But Resurrecting Cos cleaning up a little bit. Marlon answering back. It doesn't, and again, it's just this back and forth from both teams. Both just finding a pick, finding a second pick. And you can't really tell how either of these fights are going to go. It looks like it's going to go one way and just gets flipped instantly. You know, Bonker and Marlon seems like they've been the guys finding these next picks, really kind of carrying the team a little bit, it seems. You know, clutching up these, what seems like lost fights from the get-go.
All right, now we have another fight ready to go here. It is going to be the Pulse Bomb and the Diva Bomb ready to go. Almost actually 5 ultimates on the side of Impact. Riot trying to build up to this Terror Surge and the Blade, but they're just not quite there. You want to take kind of a longer fight here so you can build up to those ultimates.
Cos forced to use Bomb though, which is unfortunate. Not quite managed to find a pick this time with his ult, as it has done a few times in the past. Terror Surge coming out, not finding anything though. But we've just got Resurrect popping the OC. Is he going to be able to find any picks though? Marlon falling low. Impact winning, but it does seem like they are going to finally be able to get this past the forward spawns and kind of bringing this back a little bit after being down 70-80 meters.
Yeah, looking good here. You have this Kitsune Rush from Gloppin ready to go for Impact, but you have both DPS ultimates. It's going to be the Blade coming out from Speedy.
And they're just finding that pick early. Again, they're only really using maybe 2 ults. Just having this ult economy. They've only really had one fight where they haven't had an ult ready to go. You know, but they've got these 2 support ults ready. Only one coming out from the side of Impact though with the Kitsune.
All right, there's the forward spawn being taken away from Impact. Still have this Kitsune Rush ready to go now. Both support ultimates for the side of Riot. Looking like Gloppin wants to just send this Kitsune Rush down main, but I mean, it looks like Riot's just trying to walk the bot away from this.
Riot answering back with a Juno, but Cos and Resurrected managed to find 2 big picks early, forcing out that rally to try turn this fight back around, but it doesn't seem like they're going to be able to do anything with it other than find that 1 pick onto Mr. Jade. Axar just cleaning up. And again, it's just both teams are just seem to be so evenly matched here that it's you know, you can never really, as I said multiple times, saying it a little bit too much maybe at this point, and just going back and forth, you know, 6-7 fights in a row where they just kind of both win, like they win one, lose one, win one, lose one. Neither team really getting much of an advantage, but Axar managed to find a pick onto BBC Dango early, and they're Juno falling. They have no heals anymore, but Cause does lose mech, unfortunately, forcing out that Terror Surge, but it doesn't seem like Riot is going to be able to turn this fight back around as they have done previously.
Yeah, Bonker is just going to be trying to get out with his life as we have 5 members alive here for Impact. Deepa Bomb. Nope, Deepa Bomb is going to be ready to go very shortly. We have the overclock and the beat coming online as well. Nothing, unfortunately, for Riot to work with here, and not a whole lot of space to work with either.
And Resurrect finding that pick early on. But they've got the ult advantage as well on top of this. This is really going to be the last fight as well. Whoever wins this probably will be the winner of this game. Resurrect finding both those supports. You know, and Marlon falling as well. And Impact are just so close to this lead that they're not going to, that Riot just aren't going to be able to make that contest long enough, I don't think, to be able to force like a little bit of a contest fight going on. But the beat coming out from Impact just to secure that fight win.
Mm-hmm.
And Impact winning 3-1 in the end.
Yeah, looking pretty good while doing it. You know, Circuit, a little bit of a trip up there, but once they found their footing, I think on Runasapi here, able to just kind of push forward through these fights. It is going to be Marlon with the play of the game, showing us the power of the Orisa, why she has been a must pick in a lot of teams so far, and that is going to be Impact moving on through this upper finals or upper bracket, and it will be Riot moving down into that lower bracket. Not out of things just yet. They will have an opportunity to try and fight through that, make their way back, and I mean, who knows, Bob? We might be able to see a rematch of these two teams in the near future.
You know, I'm hoping to see these guys play again in the finals. I think that could be a really good game, and I reckon even though this one only went 4 maps, I reckon that finals game, obviously being a best of 7, I reckon it could go to that 6-7 map range, and I reckon that'd be a really good finals to watch.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, we've gotten the notice that we are going to be doing interviews, so we're going to throw it to a short break while we get the interviews kind of set up, but don't go anywhere. We'll have a chat with these teams just after this. All right, Kaizen, welcome back. Thank you so much for sticking around so that we can have a chat with some of the players. Well, we have with us here Marlon, the tank player from Riot. Marlon, how are you?
Terrible.
Totally valid. Yep, we'll give you that one. All right, so we're just gonna ask a couple of questions here, and then we're gonna give you a chance to kind of shout anybody out. So, starting off, I'm thinking, what were you guys anticipating coming into this match? Obviously, this community, the teams are fairly familiar with each other. Have you had an opportunity to kind of scrim Impact before, or come up against them that you were kind of had a way to prepare for this match?
Yeah, we scrimmed them a couple times before the playoffs, and we knew they were gonna play a lot of Diva.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We just didn't really prepare anything for that specifically. We just wanted to play our own game. Just what
Yeah.
we're good at.
Totally fair.
Yeah. So from me, so I've got it's kind of a two-parter. So were you kind of coming into this game expecting to win it, or were
Of course.
you? Yeah. So how does this now affect your kind of plan? Because obviously, if you're expecting to win, I reckon you were kind of expecting to win all the way up until the finals. Does this kind of change any of your plans, any of your ideas going into the losers bracket now?
Not really. Yeah, I mean, if we want to win it all, we gotta beat everyone, and
Mm-hmm.
we just beat them in the grand finals then, if they make it there.
All right, I love it. Already anticipating that the rematch is going to happen. All right, well, Marlon, we're going to give you a chance here before you leave. Is there anyone that you want to shout out on your team, coaches, anything like that?
Yeah, then I'll go for my coaches. They're doing a pretty good job. I'm really happy we have them. Fish and Staney. Really happy we have them.
Push and Stony?
Fish and
Fish and
Staney.
Staney.
Oh, Fish and Staney. All right, shout out to Fish and Staney, the coaches for the side of Riot. Marlon, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us here, and best of luck in the lower bracket run.
Yeah, thank you. Don't worry about it.
All right, well, we are going to throw it to another quick break as we get somebody from Impact into the voice chat. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back. Okay, welcome back, Kaizen. I promised that it was going to be quick. We are here now with Cosmo, the winning tank player from the side of Impact. Cosmo, how are you feeling?
Tired. I want to go to bed.
I totally understand that. Thank you so much for taking a little bit of time just to chat with us and let the community kind of hear a little bit of the insight into Team Impact. So I'm wondering, we saw you guys play a whole lot of Diva, a little bit of Wrecking Ball as well. I'm wondering, is the dive composition something that Impact is really favoring right now, or you have a little bit of flexibility? We did see you on the Orisa as well.
Well, the ball was a new last minute, like literally practiced last week. But the Diva's always been our strongest kind of comp, so I guess yeah, dive is just kind of more natural to us.
Love it. Yeah, that's awesome.
Right. So personally, did you see Riot as your biggest kind of contender for this season, or do you reckon anyone else is going to be a bigger challenge than Riot was?
Well, definitely Riot. Riot is always going to be our biggest competition, and it's more of the rivalry that extended from last season as well, because a lot of them were on that Bliss Genesis team. So just keeping that on into the new season. I mean, Sunset are looking interesting. That's a team we want to face. We kind of hope that they beat Revs. But
Yeah, well, obviously in the regular season, you guys lost to Revs. Are you hoping to kind of play one of Riot or Revs, or are you hoping to play that Sunset in the finals if you make it there?
well, the winners finals we want to face Sunset, but overall, we do kind of hope that Riot comes back from this and
Yeah.
we can have a competitive grand finals, hopefully.
All right.
Yeah, we are all definitely really hoping for a competitive grand finals. Cosmo, before we let you go off to bed, is there anyone that you wanted to shout out? Coaches, teammates, staff, anything like that?
Well, our motto kind of just is no XR, no win. So
Okay, shout out to Axar, I guess. No Axar, no win. We heard it here. Cosmo, thank you so much. Congratulations on the win. Can't wait to see what Impact does next.
yep, thank you, thank you.
All right, Kaizen, and well, that is going to be it for us. Thank you so much to everybody that tuned in for this Tier 3 console match. Once again, congratulations to Impact, who is going to be moving on through this winner's final. Riot, we will see them down in that lower bracket. I have been Rain, joined here by Bob, and we had WM working the camera today. So thank you so much for showing up, and we will see you in the next stream.